Hello everyone and welcome to the Hobby Guard. If this channel is about any one thing at all, it is about the battle, the fight between slop, normie lifestyle, boring, run-of-the-mill, weekend warrior, couch, football player, yelling, consumer, again, brain dead, unheroic, uninvolved lifestyle of the normies. Between that and the exciting, heroic, legendary, epic, narrative, more involved, more engaging lifestyle of a hobbyist, not only a consumer, not only a normie who absorbs the content and maybe they'll poop out some opinion on it, a review on it, if you will, but that's as far as their involvement goes. No. The hobbyist, he's a creative, he's part of the content, of the experience, of the product. He adds to it. He becomes one with it. He ennobles it. He gets inspired by it and goes on to live his life and become a more epic person because of it. Now, if none of that made sense to you, hold on to your seat because I will try to explain it further. Let me try to put it in a clearer way. Today, as I finally sat down for the first time to play the DLC for the Doom The Dark Ages called Revelations, I was thinking to myself as I was headbanging, ripping and tearing through hordes of demons from in hell. I was thinking to myself, man, this is way cooler than 99% of the stuff out there. I would not choose to watch a soccer game instead of this. I would not choose to be doom scrolling instead of these. This is like way cooler than any of those things. I'm not saying it's like the best use of anyone's time. That's very arbitrary. But just how metal it is that I get to grab a saw shield and a chain spear and a shotgun and a plasma gun and just rip and tear through hordes of demons in hell. It's cool. It's metal. It's rad. But it was a bittersweet moment because I knew in the back of my head as I was playing that very recently, in fact this very week that just passed, ID Software was heavily affected by the massive layoffs of Microsoft. And we're not talking about a bunch of eggheads in the top floors got fired and because they were there for DEI or political agenda reasons. No, we're talking about developing departments. Reportedly, entire developing departments were ravaged by the layoffs. So I want to start this video by saying my heart goes out to anyone who's at the moment looking out for a job. A very close family member of mine, in fact, is one of those people who used to work for Microsoft and saw herself as part of the layoffs. Now, it is bittersweet. Do not tell this person or this family member of mine, but I have been very critical of Microsoft, as I am very critical of every big company, because companies tend to see us, the bigger they get, the more they tend to see us as consumers. And almost like our attention and our money becomes the product that this company consumes, and they become like a predator of our money, which is our energy, our effort, our hard work in material form, right? That's what our money signifies. And as such, even though I had a family member working in Microsoft, that has never affected my opinion of the company as a whole. And that being said, I feel like ID Software was particularly an outlier, if you will, in their attitude towards their fans, towards the consumer. Allow me to explain further. They have not only been one of the companies with the most historical weight in the entire industry, like the biggest in the entire industry for years. Many of the people watching this video would not have even been born by the time this company, but by the time I was already as a young boy playing the games that this company was making. My favorite game, my very first video game that I ever played was made by this company before I was born. So yes, they are a legacy company, but they did not stop at that. Back in the day, after Doom 3, which, ironically enough, say what you will, is one of my favorite video games as well. Like, I could say that about every Doom. I'm a shell for Doom games, what it is. After Doom 3, the company went on a Doom hiatus for 10 years, and there were many changes, and it all came back with Wolfenstein and Doom 2016. The first batch of like new video games that came out under the so-called new ID software when they situated to Texas and the whole deal. But ever since then, they have not only been making cool games. You know, I like any other company, like with any other game developer, like big company, whatever, I will have my grievances with them. Particularly, I've mentioned in the past, I was not appreciative at all of how they treated certain creatives like Mick Gordon, and how they basically threw him under the bus, and that's a whole other issue, but that seemed like it was more of a one person against another kind of thing there. And at the end of the day, as far as I know, Mick Gordon is still extremely talented, and he is still doing amazing in his career. I hope he is, and I will always support him in whatever way I can, because he's a genius over time. That being said, still, I think the music for the new Doom game it's just as good. No, I don't want to say just as good. That's very arbitrary, but I think that the artists behind the new music, the new soundtrack for the new Doom game, the artists, they're great. I have the entire soundtrack on my workout playlist. But those things aside, notwithstanding those little things here and there, and those certain practices like every company will have, especially after you get purchased by Bethesda, for example. And notwithstanding, couple of issues along the way, notwithstanding my differences with like some of the creative decisions that they've made, and for example, like the content creators that they chose to listen to instead of others in the past, whatever, every time I play the new Doom games, my beard gets longer. People ask me in the comments, hey, how did you get that sick mustache? Well, that's how. I involve myself in very high testosterone demanding activities like playing Doom the Dark Ages. Anyways, that's besides the point. That's just me explaining why I think ID Software was an outlier, because they had all the excuses in the world to just sit back, rest in their laurels of victory, just use their big name, and say, we're just either gonna keep doing Doom 2016 over and over and over again, or Doom Eternal over and over and over again, or we're gonna pull a Bethesda, and we're gonna be like, oh yeah, don't worry guys, the next Doom is coming. You'll see a trailer every 5 years, but trust us, it's coming. But they didn't do that. They respected us. They respected their fans. And every few years, they didn't rush games, that too. But every few years, they would push out sick games, which would innovate, which would do something new. And again, I have had my opinions, positive and negative, on those games. But overall, the fact of the matter is that myself, as an appreciator of the fine arts, if you will, I can appreciate first and foremost the intention behind a creative project, the love that goes into making it, the attention that goes into it. I'm not talking about production value. Production value is the least of the issues. My computer can barely run like super high graphic games. My Xbox starts to melt when the frame rate gets too high. I am a boomer. I don't care about that. I would get lost playing like the Doom 93 game for hours as a kid. I didn't need like huge graphics. I would look at those wall sprites of like the faces attached to the walls just moving over endlessly, and I would stare for hours, horrified out of my soul was horrified out of my body, looking at those faces trapped in the wall in an eternal scream in the darkest pit of, and I'm just lying there with a shotgun with very little freaking ammo, not sure how to even play this game because I am 10 years old and I am terrified and I have to make a choice. Do I shut it down? Or do I grab my tiny 10-year-old balls, that sounded very weird, and keep going and strive Push onwards. The only way out is through. That is something that Doom taught me as a 10-year-old. And it was metal. And it was cool. So, here's to ID Software. All their hard effort. My heart goes out to everyone affected by the layoffs. And I shall take a sip of this nondescript foamy beverage in your honor. Now, with that out of the way, it is not all love and niceness and good thoughts here with me. Not today. You can tell by my barbarian hat that I am ready for beef. I'm ready to fight. The layoffs have affected thousands, literal dozens of thousands is that a thing? I don't know. Thousands and thousands of people in Microsoft as a whole. And people seem to disagree. Like, there is an official statement of why the layoffs are. Now, I am just a silly barbarian. I am not a big brain person. I'm a dork, not a nerd. Okay, I always say that. But people have different opinions on what there is. You know, some people blame woke. Some people blame their political agendas. Some people blame DEI. Some people blame the marketing strategy. Some people blame pricing. Some people blame the quality of games over the last years. Some people blame the whole Game Pass system. Whatever it is, everyone has an opinion. I have my own opinion. And I think, and this is my theory, I think that the company, Microsoft, and many other companies, are bracing themselves for a shock previously unseen by the industry, a technological shock, if you will, of biblical proportions, in the form of AI development. I do not know what this is, I do not care what this is, but I think it's coming. And I think that they know that it's either coming or it's already here, and it's gonna shake things up to their core, and they are bracing themselves to take on the brunt of the impact as best as they can, while still being able to produce content. So I think products. I think that it has a lot to do with AI and how AI has become instrumental in replacing. People get triggered when I say that for whatever reason. Like, oh yeah, you're just replacing artists and creatives and many other people. But you know, as a creative myself, if you will, you could argue I don't have a dog in this fight. I earn my living with hydraulic systems, not my art. But I am a creative, and I even though I do not call myself an artist, I do work on my artistic skills. So I believe that is like one of the biggest issues here. Someone somewhere is betting a lot of money onto these new technologies, and the biggest issue is, and this is where I come beefing, the people are not ready for it. The people, the cash cows, the normie slop consumers who are fascinated by AI slop, and I have explained this beef many times in my channel. I've talked about it at depth. I've been more generous sometimes because I understand why people use it. I understand why some people like it. Many of my friends use it and like it, and they don't see the issue that I see with it. And people just take the AI slop, and they seem fascinated by it. And I'm here to tell you that is the wrong way to go. I am here to tell you I will die on this hill. I won't go like full on anti-AI, like anti-technology, Butlerian jihad, dark age of technology, Mechanicus, forbidden heresy, tech heresy, whatever. No. I won't do that. I will just say you have to realize whether you are the one using the tool or the tool is using you, and to what extent. Now, the tool, I don't think the tool is genuinely alive and smart. I think people are using the tool to use you, basically, to get something out of you, and I think that goes for like social media and all sorts of new technologies that we've been exposed to. I've talked at length in my channel about this, but stay more on topic. Art and any sort of creative endeavor. I can explain my beef with it by sharing an anecdote. There is a YouTuber whom I don't mind naming because people say it's okay to punch up. So I will punch him in the pin, as I always say, to Shadiversity. Now Shad is a YouTuber whom I have watched his videos for years. He used to be kind of like my feel-good YouTuber until a few years ago when he started taking a stand for AI art and defending AI art. He put out a few videos explaining why he didn't think that AI art was theft and AI art stealing the art of artists, basically, to train their models. Why he didn't think that was morally wrong. And this was like maybe 4 years ago, maybe 5, so I might be paraphrasing here. But I basically stopped watching his channel at that point because I was just like so disappointed. And I left the channel on his video. A comment on his YouTube video saying, hey, I think that the issue here is that you cannot think ahead. You think as art as like something that maybe you can't do, and AI is just something that facilitates for you. But it will be very different in a few years when AI is able to write a script for a YouTube video, all the information needed to open a YouTube channel, edit the video, upload it, and basically run an entirely AI run YouTube channel or content creation channel. And you will see how that will become an issue when that happens. I didn't say if that happens, I said when that happens. And I recall some people had beef with that. Some people were like, don't be stupid, that's never gonna happen. But to me it was like obvious that it was gonna happen. You know, I'm just a stupid barbarian, but I have flashes of wisdom. I have flashes of forethought, of foresight, acquired by like a sixth sense that I developed in battle back in the day. You develop these like sixth sense of battle, of what may happen, what may be to come. So even a stupid barbarian like myself could think of those things. Like, wait. Sure, this personally affects me. Like, I am more involved with this because I like hand-drawn art. But everyone's job is in danger of this. If it can replicate something as complex as hand-drawn art, which by the way I think it does a horrible job of replicating it. I think it absolutely sucks at it. But if he can replicate it, he can do your stupid, boring job. No problem at all. And people didn't believe me. They called me crazy. They said, shut up, silly barbarian. You know not what you speak of. And here we are many years later, where for example, we have this issue in the Warhammer lore community, like entire lore channels dedicated to the lore of Warhammer, people who didn't feel comfortable showing their faces, but they still wanted to talk about Warhammer. They are constantly being flagged by YouTube as an AI channel, because AI channels became such an issue. Channels completely run by AI became such an issue that YouTube started implementing tools to stop that. Now, I don't think YouTube did that out of like the goodness of their heart and to allow creators to have a chance. I think people were in such... I would have to look into that. This happened a while back, but I'm sure like whenever something like that gets implemented is because people are just completely raging against it. Not completely, but a lot of us are. We have something to say. We hate stuff that is not made by a human. Some of us like to see the human behind things, and that is a core issue of this video. Art is always imperfect, but as long as it is human, that is okay, because it gives you something. Yes, AI art can give you ideas, it can give you whatever, but it is morally wrong. And if we, as a consumer base, I hate to call us consumers, but that's pretty much what we are at this point, if we don't learn to discern between slop and non-slop, between something made by humans and something made just to keep you entertained, between a product of love and effort, even if it's not like the highest quality, and a product of someone who just wants to cash in your money and attention. Not that one is inherently better than the other, but in the end, I'm talking about how that affects you. That's what matters. You know, I can give you many examples. I have sketchbooks filled with horrible sketches, full of mistakes. that AI, but if I just write a quick prompt, can do something better, people would say. But to me, those crappy sketchbooks are worth more because there's a part of me in there. There's me learning. There's me struggling. There's me who was doing the same thing as the 10-year-old me playing Doom, just being frozen in horror at those faces in the walls. Who said, you know what, this is horrible, I don't know what to do, but I'll just keep pushing through. Well, again, the only way out is through, right? And that's how I've developed every skill in life. Look at my miniatures back there. The ones here on the second shelf, my blood angels, these are the first ones that I ever painted. And you can tell gradually how the very first ones are horrible, way worse than the ones in the top shelf. And they gradually become a little better, and a little better, and a little better over the years. This has taken me years. And there is value in that. There's nothing wrong with that. That is awesome. But we're developing this culture of, oh, that's inefficient. Oh, I don't like that. Make it easier, make it faster, make it more convenient. No! Shut up, weakling. I don't respect you. I don't respect your entire culture of comfort. Comfort is where empires go to die. And you may be asking yourself at this point, how is that related to a video game about shooting demons in the face with a shotgun? What does that have to do with it? Everything. It has everything to do with it, because that is, if we can't have media that inspire us to, to be heroic, to be badass, to be completely, how can I put this, unwussified, if we don't never get that inspiration, then we just become slaves to whoever wants to take advantage of us in the world. We never make everything, we're never inspired to make everything cool, to make everything of value, anything impressive, because impressive things take effort, impressive things take time. So, yes, I understand that is a huge rant, but it is a very passionate rant. And I understand I'm just technically being a shill for a huge multi-million-dollar company. Like, yes, I know those things, but it is not the company that I'm defending. I hope you understand that. It is not the company that I have beef with, or even the decision to terminate all those people, because I don't know what was actually behind that decision. What actually worries me is the lack of upset that I see in people when they're presented with this vision of a world where machines choose what you get to see. If you're watching this video, a machine chose that you should watch it, and that's fine. That's like, that helps me, so that's fine in that case. No, just kidding. I'm not talking about that kind of convenience. I'm talking about, like, imagine a future in which not only the machine chooses what video you watch, but also the machine made the video that it is choosing for you to watch. And then it's making the video game that it is choosing for you to watch. And what is gonna happen to, like, niche games? Not every game obviously has to be like. I'm partly happy for the people who got laid off, because not all of them obviously, but I'm sure some of them will find their way to a smaller studio where they're gonna be able to try their hands at something really creative without, like, all the corporate chains around them. That often happens, and I'm happy for them if that's the case. I hope that's the case for many of them, or that they find their way back into the industry to keep doing whatever they love doing. I'm not saying about, like, oh yes, big company bad because it needs to hire a lot of people. I'm not talking about that. I don't care about the big companies all that much. Again, I don't care about the big games having graphics. What I care about is the people consuming that. I want peers who get excited again by cool stories, by cool narratives, inspirational narratives. And I'm not talking Shakespeare here, or I'm not talking like revolutionary philosophy like Nietzsche or Evola. No, I'm talking like to the basest degree, like entertainment. Can we make our entertainment cool? Can we have that at least made by humans? Can we have that Promethean spirit of defiance that characterizes our species in at least in our entertainment? That's what I want. That's what I vouch for. That's what it's about. Defiance. Hard work. But anyways, that is my requiem for ID Software. I hope, I've read a lot of things about it. Some people are saying the company is completely devastated. Some people are saying, whoa, guys, chill, don't worry. Like, yes, we lost a lot of people, but they are saying that the size of the team that they have now is similar to what they had when they made Doom 2016, which is one of my favorite games of all time. Fair enough. Again, that's not what my beef is with. Let me wipe off the foam of my beard. I just noticed I had that. I apologize. Let me get a few more foam into my beard. And wipe it again. Anyways, it's not about that. It's not about the size of the horse in the race. Is that a saying? I don't know. It's not about this. Now it is. It's not about the size of the horse in the race. It's about the people, for me, cheering. What are you cheering for? Cheer for the cool horse with the jacked rider with a shotgun and a chain shield and a chain spear, not for the robot demon horse who is lame and fake. With that being said, thanks for coming, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about this outrageous, out of control rant that I just had in the comments down below. Feel free to join the guard and join the battle against boredom and normie slop by hitting the subscribe button. As always, remember, ad astra, and there are no female custodies. Thank you.